He was worth millions, and still got blindsided by a jar of candy at a red light. On his way home, Grant Holloway, the polished CEO everyone feared, glanced out his tinted window and froze. There, under a flickering street lamp, stood Rosa Delgado, the quiet cleaning lady from his own building, still in her work uniform, holding up a small jar of homemade coconut sweets, like it was the last lifeline she had. Cars rolled past. Some people smiled. Most ignored her. But Grant couldn't, not after seeing the exhaustion in her shoulders and the pride in the way she kept standing anyway. The next morning he couldn't focus. He kept hearing the same question in his head. Why would someone who works for me need to sell candy after midnight? He called her into a conference room, not to scold her, but to listen. Rosa didn't beg. She didn't cry. She just said, "My son Eli needs surgery. The basics are covered. The rest isn't." Her voice was calm, but her hands shook as she tightened her grip on her cleaning cart like it was armor. Grant sat back stunned. His company ran on perfect spreadsheets and competitive wages, yet right in front of him was proof that legal wasn't the same as fair. So he made a decision that would anger partners and rattle the entire building. Rosa could sell her sweets inside the office openly, and he ordered a review of wages for the staff everyone overlooked. Because once you see someone fighting for their child under a street lamp, you don't get to unsee it. Grant didn't leave that conference room feeling like a hero. He left feeling exposed, like someone had ripped the velvet curtain off his success and shown him the unpaid cost behind it. Rosa sat across from him, spine straight, eyes tired but steady. When he asked softly, "How bad is it?" she hesitated just long enough for him to see the fear she'd been swallowing for months. "My boy," she said, swallowing hard. "Eli's 12. The doctor says his spine is curving fast. He's in pain when he sleeps. Sometimes he can't even tie his shoes without wincing." She looked down at her hands, calloused from bleach and mop handles. "They can do the surgery, but the insurance only covers the basics. The rest is thousands." Grant's jaw tightened. He'd signed off on budgets that burned through thousands in a single dinner meeting. Yet this woman who scrubbed the fingerprints off his glass doors every morning was standing under streetlights, selling coconut candy like her life depended on it. He tried to offer help the way men like him always do, clean, quick, transactional. "Tell me the number," he said. "I can—" Rosa lifted her chin, and her voice sharpened without rising. "No." A pause. "I'm not asking for pity, Mr. Holloway. I'm asking for a chance." That line hit him harder than any insult ever could. Because Rosa wasn't broken. She was fighting. Every jar of sweets was a promise to her son. "Hold on. I'm coming." Grant nodded slowly, the room suddenly too quiet. He didn't argue. He didn't push. He just saw her, really saw her for the first time. And as Rosa stood to leave, she added one more sentence, almost like a warning. "If I stop selling, my son stops getting better." Grant watched her walk out with that cleaning cart, and something inside him shifted. Not guilt, not charity, resolve. Grant Holloway didn't sleep that night, not really. He lay in a king-size bed that suddenly felt like a display model, perfect, expensive, and useless. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Rosa under that street lamp holding up that jar like it weighed 50 pounds. By 6:30 a.m., he was already in his office. "Marianne," he said to his executive assistant, voice low and tight. "I need a full personnel profile on Rosa Delgado. Start date, pay history, performance notes. Everything." Marianne blinked. "Rosa, the night cleaner." "Yes." Grant snapped, then softened when he saw her face. "Please." An hour later, a thin folder landed on his desk. Thin. Like Rosa's life had been reduced to a few neat lines of ink. Grant read it once, then again slower. No write-ups, no complaints, attendance flawless, comments from supervisors reliable, quiet, never asks for anything. And there it was, the number that made his stomach turn. Minimum wage. Barely a step above it even after years. He stared at the page like it was a punchline no one else was hearing. He had sat in meetings where people argued over a 2% raise like it would sink the entire company. He had signed contracts with vendors who charged more per month than Rosa made in a year. And all the while, the woman who kept his building shining was rationing groceries and selling candy after dark. Grant pushed back from his desk and stood at the window, watching the morning traffic crawl by. "Legal," he muttered to himself. "We did everything legal." Then he remembered Rosa's voice, calm, proud, unbending. "I'm asking for a chance." Grant picked up the phone again. "Get me HR," he said, the words coming out colder than he intended. "And schedule time with operations. Today, no excuses." He paused, fingers tightening around the receiver. "Because if this is what legal looks like," he whispered more to himself than anyone, "then we've been wrong for a long time." The conference room felt colder than it should have. Rosa Delgado stood near the door like she was ready to bolt, one hand still gripping the handle of her cleaning cart. Grant Holloway stayed seated at the long glass table, the kind of table where people signed deals and pretended they didn't have hearts. He cleared his throat. "Rosa, last night, I saw you." Rosa's eyes narrowed just a fraction. "Yes, sir. I'm not here to get you in trouble," Grant said quickly. He stopped himself. What? Felt guilty, got curious. None of it sounded right. "Why are you selling candy after work?" Rosa exhaled through her nose. "Not angry, just tired. Because my paycheck ends before the month does." Grant flinched. "Is it for your son?" Rosa's shoulders tightened. She didn't answer at first. Then she nodded once controlled, like she refused to let emotion spill in front of a man in a suit. "Eli needs surgery. We're doing what we can." Grant leaned forward. "How much are you short?" "That did it." Rosa's gaze snapped up, sharp as a blade. "No." One clean syllable. Grant blinked. No," she repeated steady. "I'm not asking you to rescue me, Mr. Holloway. I'm not a charity case." She tapped the cart lightly, the metal clinking in the silence. "I'm working. I'm selling. I'm handling my business." Grant opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time in a long time, he didn't know what to say. Rosa's voice softened, not weak, just human. "If I take money from you, it comes with a story people tell." The CEO saved her. She shook her head. "My son doesn't need a headline. He needs his mom to keep her dignity." Grant sat back,